The assembled group has greeted you not only with enthusiasm, but affection.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Mark. I think my comments will be shorter than yours. So first I want to acknowledge my own appreciation of all the other awardees. It's a terrific group, phenomenal physicians of merit, students of great promise, and clearly the future of medicine in Rochester. So I'm very pleased to be part of such a wonderful evening and to acknowledge all of them. It's a particular honor for me to receive this medal. My father-in-law, Earl B. Mahoney, a renowned surgeon, best known for his pioneering work in pediatric cardiology, was the recipient of the Albert David Kaiser Medal in 1970. So 40 years later, it's really a great privilege to follow in his shoes. And I wish he was alive today to see this. It's also, as always, standing on the shoulders of giants. Many of the people who were my predecessors at the medical center, who have made Rochester a great home for renowned physicians, have been recipients. Paul Yu, who Joe Flalley worked with, was the first chief of cardiology, and his endowed professorship was one of the ways that Jay Stein recruited me to Rochester. Larry Young, Bill McCann, and Bill Morgan were my predecessors as chairs of medicine. Bob Joint was the first CEO of the medical center and fought all the battles, thank God, to make that happen. Many of my favorite teachers when I was a medical student were recipients. Gil Forbes, George Engel, Al Early, Cy Schwartz, Frank Williams, John Morton. I went to high school with his daughter Nancy Morton. John States. I went to high school with his son David States. Bob Berk, who actually told me to go to the Brigham. He was a medical resident at the Brigham a few years before I was. Mac Everts, who, when he was chair of orthopedics at the U of R, tried to recruit me to his lab when I was looking for a PhD lab. Two of my favorite cardiologists, Jules Cohn and Arthur Moss, and of course many members of the community who've been great supporters of the medical center, including Dr. Stewart, who's here tonight. In addition, many of my colleagues who helped me to succeed over the past few years, such as Bill Hall and Lisa McInerney, were recipients. Rochester truly is home to physicians who embody the virtues of the Kaiser Medal for their distinguished service in the fields of medicine, public health, and community welfare. And so I really follow a line of just some phenomenal physicians. And I hope in small part that my experiences over this last year will enable me to attract physicians to Rochester and keep the physicians who are here so that we maintain this incredible spirit of excellence that Rochester is home to. So, a brief word about how my accident has influenced my approach to medicine. You heard from Mark about all the research I've done, and that's always been my love. I am a cardiologist, I'm an educator, I'm an administrator, but my wife would tell you science has been my love. The thrill of discovery and the ability to mentor young people as they learn how to become physicians and scientists is really my greatest pleasure. But over the last year, from my own personal experiences, I've really learned a lot more about healthcare. And it's embodied by human touch. If you watch the commercials that we've been airing, what you'll see are hands and people touching each other. You'll see the human contact that establishes human relationships. And as you heard earlier, it's the time that we take as physicians, nurses, and health providers. It's the touch that we make, whether by physical or by emotional contact, that really makes us providers and establishes the bond that enables our patients to communicate their problems and for we as physicians and healthcare providers to connect with them in a meaningful way. And as I tell everybody, we don't always need to have the answers. We just have to have the time to listen and caring to listen. So there are 4 principles that I talk about that I'm bringing to the medical center, many of which are already there, but my goal is to raise the bar. The first one is safety. It's the fundamental basis by which our patients feel that they can establish trust. If you feel safe, if you know you're in an environment that you won't get hurt in, then you can trust your provider. When patients don't feel safe, when things happen that are confusing, when they hear different stories, when mistakes are made, it makes them feel anxious, and then they don't trust us as providers. So safety is the fundamental thing we need to provide. The second is quality, and in my own accident, I was incredibly fortunate that from the very beginning, the EMS team that responded did exactly the right thing in terms of how they stabilized my neck. I was very fortunate to be airlifted to Strong. Terrific physicians in the burn and trauma center took care of me as a trauma patient, and we had terrific radiologists, orthopedic surgeons, ENT surgeons, neurosurgeons, neurologists. This team of terrific physicians, many of whom were trained here in Rochester or did their residencies here, they were able to provide me with the greatest chance at recovery. And I wouldn't be here doing what I'm doing today, talking to you, moving my hands, if I didn't have that high quality care. The injury I suffered was very severe, same injury as Christopher Reeve. And I look back on those events, many of which I wasn't conscious during, and can only thank us as a community to support such terrific physicians, many of whom you in this room educated and trained. So the third thing is care. And care comes in 2 forms. There's the kind of care you're all used to, that is taking care of your patients. But there's also the kind of care that's critical, where we take care of each other. And in our institutions, we create a caring environment that really focuses on valuing and respecting all members of the healthcare team. And at Strong, we've really made a big effort to do that, right from environmental services, food services, nursing, patient care technicians. The entire healthcare group is a team, and all members of the team are valued. I think this is critical for our environment. The only story I'm going to tell is about care, because it epitomizes that frequently it's the simple things in medicine that make the biggest difference. And it's my shampoo story. So I was in the ICU for 12 days, and on the 10th day, a nurse named Sarah came in, and she walked right up to me and says, "Dr. Berk, I'm so pleased to be able to take care of you today. It's really a great honor." I was on the ventilator, of course, couldn't do anything. I go, to her. And she said, "You know, I was always impressed by your hair. It always looked so good, and, well, it looks terrible." And she said, "Would you like a shampoo?" I nodded my head. I, of course, had no idea how on a ventilator in this crazy environment they would give me a shampoo. Next thing I know, she comes with this bag, and they kind of strap it around your head with bands, and they pour water in the bag, and they give you a shampoo. And then they blow dry your hair right in the ICU.